How's everyone doing tonight, man? It is a fantastic night. It's getting kind of chilly. But we got some fire topics for y'all today, man. Talking about free agency reactions, which teams got the better or worse trades that happened. We're also gonna be talking about some free agency players and how everything played out for them. Who got overpaid, who got underpaid, who's paid just right. And before we start, I would just like to say put some respect on my name. Everyone was clowning me last week for James Wiseman going at number 2, man. My man Narf was saying, you know what, Issa? Your opinion is wrong. How you feel, bro? Aray, you said the same crap, bro. You said, oh, there's no way Golden State's going to pick James Wiseman number 2. And who ended up being number 2? James Wiseman. Put some respect on. First of all, wait. You didn't have a top 10 draft. You have no right to talk. You didn't put anything up.
You have no right to talk,
bro. He was 0 for 10.
I don't know where you came up with your list. You called him a freaking center, even though he's a power forward. His defensive ability, but that's not the point, bro. Get to the
okay. Who's right and who was wrong? You ended up being wrong. All right, James Wiseman, number two.
Bro. I never said that it's a bad pickup. I just said that.
You said my opinion was wrong, meaning incorrect. And who's incorrect? You're incorrect. So you can just take your opinion because your opinion is wrong. All right. That's
all right. Oh man.
All right, I'm done. But yeah, let's get started on free agency reactions. My man, Shaman.
All right,
shoot! Now you got it.
All right. Okay. I got to start this off, man, because one of the most shocking, in my opinion, and the one that just makes no sense, and everything's like just makes no sense to me, is the whole Hayward situation. It's just really weird because, all right, it's kind of obvious that at a certain point of last season, he kind of wanted to leave, and I talked about how maybe it was to get a clean slate, and he was on this last year's player option, so he could have just opted in for that money. But he didn't opt in for that money. He decided to go to a different team. And I don't know. This whole situation is weird, man. I honestly don't really know. But yeah, I want to hear you guys' thoughts on that.
So I agree with you when we talked about it last time that it probably would make sense for Hayward to opt out and then take a bigger, a longer-term deal somewhere else. But I don't think any of us expected 4 years, $120 million for Gordon Hayward. And don't get me wrong, he's still a solid player. Like, he's still a good player. But the problem with him now is he's just injury prone. This past season, he missed 20 games. And in the playoffs, in the bubble, he only played in 5 of 17 possible games, and he struggled. He's obviously, I mean, in Boston, his fit was kind of diminishing because of how Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum were emerging, particularly because they're both wing players. They play the same position as Hayward. So, I mean, I think it makes sense for him, but Charlotte, I mean, they just got off the Nick Batum contract, and now they just go ahead and sign a second one. It doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Yeah, no, honestly, I agree. In the sense that, like, I feel like for the Hornets, he's just like an upgraded version of Nicholas Batum. Like, it makes no sense. Like, I don't know why they want him that badly to pay him that much. You guys know what I mean? Like, it honestly doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I don't know if they're trying to compete or rebuild. They don't really have the pieces to even compete, like, properly. Maybe make a run for the 8th or 7th seed, but it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, they've got a nice player in Devontae Graham. I mean, Terry Rozier is he's pretty good. And then Hayward, they got LaMelo. It just doesn't make any sense what type of direction they're trying to go in, especially after paying that much to be like Nicholas Batum, like upgraded version. You guys know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, like, I kind of wanted to see Gordon Hayward in this position where he's kind of relied on a little bit more, because it was obvious that Celtics, they have the players necessary, and Gordon Hayward wasn't really facilitating that process. So I kind of wanted to see him in a bigger position to see if he'd actually come out of his funk. Because, like, after that injury, I feel like he's never been the same. So I feel like it's probably good for him in the sense that he might get some of his confidence back. But like, I still agree with y'all. Like, 120 mil is way too much, bro. That's a lot of money, bro. And they just threw it on Gordon Hayward. Like, they could have gotten so many other people, but they chose Gordon. But I still think he's a great player. I still think that this opportunity is probably going to propel him even higher. But that's my take on it.
Yeah, I feel like they did overpay him. Sorry, Narf, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish what you're saying.
Oh, they did. They honestly really did overpay for him, but like in a market like Charlotte, where like success is seems to be hard to come by. I guess they had to pay a little bit of a premium.
Yeah.
Maybe this is more of a marketing move than it was a competitive one, but that's just the way I see it. Okay, Narf, go ahead.
Yeah, I was basically going to say the same thing as you. Just Gordon Hayward going there for 120 mil, like that's a lot considering he's not the Utah version of Gordon Hayward. But I think they just have some hope in him, and yeah, small market team, so they can't really do much. But I think one of the positives from him going to Charlotte is he can be a great mentor for LaMelo Ball. So yeah, that's one of the positives that I take.
Yeah, I definitely agree with both of you guys. And definitely with what Shaman was saying earlier that like it's one of the teams they haven't been good for a while. And with teams like that, you kind of do have to end up overpaying to get good players. Like for example, last season or 2 seasons ago, when Phoenix signed Ricky Rubio, it was looked at as an overpayment. But if you're a bad team, you have to have some sort of enticing reason for a player, either a good player or an above average player to want to come to your team. And in Hayward's case, it was he got the bag. So I mean, he was enticed enough to go there.
Big bag. What was Fred VanVleet's contract? Was it 3 years, 80 million, or was it 4 years, 80 million?
I believe it was 5 years, 83 million, but then he had an no, it was 4 years with an option.
Okay. That's crazy, bro. Like you can make an argument that like Fred VanVleet's like way better than Gordon Hayward right now. But he got paid like a much like significantly smaller, like he got paid like three-fourths the amount that Gordon Hayward did.
That's where
So
seniority comes in, man. Welcome.
yeah, I mean he does have a lot more experience though. He does
that,
have a lot more experience than
that's
Fred
true.
VanVleet.
That's the only way I can see that being justified, man.
Yeah, I'm actually for the Van Vliet contract. It's 4 years, 85 million. He signed through the 2023-2024 season, and after 2023, he has a player option for 22 mil, and then the next year he becomes an unrestricted free agent. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go to the next one, y'all. From one Toronto individual to another one. Well, former. How are we feeling about Ibaka? Kyle, how are you feeling, man?
Yeah. So I really like the signing for the Clippers. We talked about it previously, but in the playoffs in 11 games, like he was ridiculously good. He averaged almost 15 points, almost 8 rebounds, 1.3 blocks, 57% field goal percentage, 51% from three. And this is going to sound so crazy. It doesn't sound real, but 70% true shooting percentage. For the team, he fits much better as a backup big because the problem for the Clippers in the playoffs was whenever Ivica Zubac would leave the floor, the defense would just crater and they would just continue to hemorrhage points because Montrezl Harrell's not a good defender. And Serge Ibaka, he's not the defender he used to be. He used to be like a first team all defense, lead the league in blocks kind of guy. He's not that anymore. But he's still a very smart player who knows like defensive rotations, and I think he'll just fit great. And offensively, he'll be great as well. You can run big lineups with him if you need to against bigger teams. You can play him at the 5 to close games and just play 5 out. There's just a lot of possibilities. So I'm very excited for what he's going to do.
Yeah, no, I agree. And at the time of his signing, he was probably one of the better free agents that was available. And he made the most sense considering JaMychal Green left. And, I feel like he can kind of fill in that role as a shooter and also as a pretty good interior defender. So in the Clippers their sake, I guess that's a really good move that they made.
No, I agree. Any y'all got another take on this, or because I feel like there's no conflicting ideas on this aside from Nerf, because he lost someone important.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I think.
I mean,
No, you go ahead.
I'll take this one. I think Ibaka going to the Clippers, they really needed him. Just him staying in Toronto, I don't know if it would have been the best move. I think he wants to compete, and I don't think Toronto's doing that next year. So I think Toronto's keeping the cap space open. So let's see what Toronto plans for the upcoming free agency, because this free agency
Man, I'm sorry. You Raptors fans probably hate the Clippers because we just keep stealing all their good players. Next thing you know, we're probably just gonna trade for Kyle Lowry at the deadline. Oh man,
Hey,
I'm
I
sorry.
You can have him.
We're gonna get
Might
Giannis.
as well.
We're gonna get Giannis.
Oh my god.
That's gonna be hella spin moves, man. You got Giannis and you got freaking Pascal Siakam on the same team. Hella spin moves, man.
Bro, they're gonna have their own. They're gonna have enough like spins to make their own gravity.
We're gonna make the other teams busy.
you guys gonna have your own orbitational field, like orbital field. My God. All right, let's move on. Gallo. How are you feeling?
Danilo Gallinari. Oh my
Man,
bad, I was just saying his name.
I feel like this one's weird because he was talking about like, oh, I want to go to like I got the contract, I got the money. Now I want to go to a team where I can, get a contract or not a contract, sorry, where I can get a championship, blah blah. Blah. And then he signed with the Hawks, so that's just weird. And on top of that, now that they signed like a bunch of other players like Bogdanovic or Bojan, whatever, and a few other players, he's kind of playing like. I mean, I heard and I saw that he's coming off the bench, so he basically like forfeited his chance of getting a championship, and now he's playing for a Hawks team, which did improve. But I mean, they're probably going to compete for the 8th or 7th seed, or maybe the 6th seed at most in the East. So it's not like they're going to be a championship contender. But like, it just doesn't make any sense to me why he would want to get a contract and come off the bench like that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree. Oh, go ahead.
I was just thinking that it's 61.5 mil for 3 years, bro. That's a pretty good contract for Gallinari. Like, his last few years, like he was getting injured a lot, but I think this last year was probably like his most consistent year where he wasn't on the bench the whole time. I mean, like he's been on the bench for like most of his career because of injuries. I feel like this is nothing new for him. I don't mean to like be like a hater or anything like that, but like I mean, 61 mil for sitting on a bench. I mean, I wouldn't mind that. But I agree with what Aray is saying. Like, he was going for a championship team, but it's like more than obvious that the Hawks are currently not a championship team. They have a good roster. They have a nice young roster with like some vets, like sprinkled in like Rondo now. But that's not a championship team, man.
Well,
See-
that's where I kind of disagree. Well, yeah, sure, they're not a championship team, and obviously he wanted to go for a contender. And I feel like Atlanta, with making all these moves by bringing in Bogdanovic and Gallinari and even Rondo, is just they're setting themselves up for the future. And I think
sure.
keeping that in mind, like he probably see the team has direction, which a lot of teams don't. And they were willing to give him a lot of money. And yeah, he's playing off the bench, which like takes away from what he wanted. But I think he'll still play around the high 20 to 30 minute mark like per game. So I think he'll still get plenty of playing time. And depending on what team he plays against, he might even finish off the game. So I don't think it was a bad move on his end because yeah, it's a very I think it's a very good team with Trae Young developing at the rate that he is. He could definitely be like a top 5 point guard within the next 2 years. With Gallinari 3-year contract, I think that's amazing.
If you're ever gonna feel bad for anybody, feel bad for Clint Capella this year. He's gonna have to anchor that Hawks defense, and he's gonna need some help for sure. I really like. Not to say really like. It is an interesting signing for Gallo. 3 year 61.5 as you mentioned earlier. So before the report came out that he's going to be coming off the bench, which to me was a little interesting because I think next to Clint Capella, he's a better fit than John Collins. This past year, he shot 40% from 3 on 7.1 attempts per game, which is pretty great. He has struggled a little bit the past 2 years in the playoffs, but it's going to be very interesting to see how they stagger the lineups because they don't really have a lot of great defensive players in the Hawks currently.
Yeah, we're gonna see how that turned out. All right, well, can we go to I want to make this joke. How do I report the Houston Rockets for highway robbery? Because they pulled off a steal with Christian Wood. Like that's a good ass signing, bro. How are we feeling, boys?
Dude, I 100% agree. I don't know why. I just feel like I have a lot of Christian Wood stock. I really like him as a player. He's easily the most modern big man that Harden has played with. I wouldn't say he's the best. I would probably give that distinction to Dwight Howard in the earlier years. But Christian Wood, sorry, I keep saying Tristan. Christian Wood he can put the ball on the floor at times. He's a great shooter. He started only 12 games this past year. In those 12 games, he averaged 21.9 points, 9.4 rebounds, 2.3 assists on 40.8% from three, and he had a 64% true shooting percentage. One of the big problems, though, for him, though, is he had 27 assists to 26 turnovers, which is atrocious. But I think he can be a real difference maker in Houston. I really like that signing for them.
All right, which one of you fucks had him on your fantasy team?
I think that
Oh
was
boy, you already know. You already know. I already have all the sleepers, bro. But yeah, no. On top of that, like just going off of what Kyle was saying, man, I'm kind of mad at the signing just because as a Celtics fan, I wanted him on my team. I know that Wood initially, like he said that one of the reasons why he signed with Houston was because he was playing some pickup with Harden and he felt like he really fit in. They played well together. So like we'll have to see if that's going to translate in the NBA because like NBA is obviously way different than pickup. But I just feel like it could really work out because he's like a stretch 4, stretch 5, I'd like to say, and like I don't know, the Rockets aren't necessarily going towards the small ball anymore with Daryl Morey out of the way now. So I can definitely see a different, dynamic that's going to happen in Houston. And honestly, I think I spoke too soon. I said that maybe, they should try flipping Westbrook and doing this and that to kind of make moves. They did flip Covington for a couple I think they got a Ariza out of it and some other players maybe. But, I think I spoke too soon and they could honestly try competing again one more time, They also got Cousins and they're I don't know how this is gonna work because like the Rockets are a really fast-paced team. You know what I mean? Like they go back and forth. I don't know how Cousins fat ass is gonna make it back and forth through the court. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
he
don't
tore his
violate him
Achilles
like that.
too, right? I mean, he tore his Achilles already once, and like I think he also messed up like his meniscus or ACL or something like that, like during practice. So I feel like it's gonna be hard on Cousins, but like if he's even like 70% of the player he was while he was like showing out in like New Orleans and everything like that, I feel like it's a solid pickup for like Houston to revert back to not just being small ball because Christian Wood he's pretty big, and DeMarcus Cousins is also pretty big. So I kind of like that they're picking up like proper centers now.
And I mean, as long as I have James Harden, they'll always be a contender
Right.
because this man is amazing.
Yeah.
No. Okay. I can't tell which one, but all right. How are we feeling about which Morris are we discussing here? Because I'm a bit confused.
I think it's Marcus Morris.
Okay, Marcus Morris. How are we feeling, boys?
Yeah, so it's kind of any way you can say it is an overpay, but the Clippers really did have to bring him back. They gave up a first round pick at the deadline to get him, so they couldn't have just let him walk for nothing. Despite what most people will tell you that everybody on the Clippers sucked in the playoffs and that they're a bad team. Marcus Morris in the first round, in my opinion, and I watched all the games, he was probably the second best player. At worst, he was the third best player with how bad Paul George was playing at times. He shot 47% from three in the playoffs. He disappears in games 5, 6, and 7, and he infamously told Paul Millsap to go the fuck home, and Clippers lost 3 straight. But no, he adds a lot of offensive versatility and defensive versatility if the team wants to go big and play him at the 3, or if they want to go very, very small and play him at the 5. There's just a lot of options. So I think it's a good signing. It is a little bit of an overpay, but I think it'll be worth it.
Let's fucking hope so. All right. Jeremy Grant. I like this dude. How you guys feeling? I think he went to Detroit.
Yeah. Jeremy Grant has he's been coming up in the league for a long time. Like he played with Russ, like he was on the OKC and he played with Denver. And he got signed by Detroit. But I really like where Jeremy Grant's going, man. Like he's been steadily like picking up his game like every single season, like spreading the floor a little bit more. And 3 years for $60 million, that's pretty good. Like that's a good contract for him. I'm not sure how this is going to play out for the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah,
but,
I was just gonna ask that. Like, how does
Yeah,
that? How's I don't know how. I mean, my man finally got recognized for his talents, but like,
hmm
like,
great player,
is he gonna
but
be able
like,
to compete? I don't know.
I feel bad for the Nuggets because they lost him, and he was
yeah,
a key piece to them competing next
100%.
season. So I think more than Detroit gaining from Jeremy Grant, I think Nuggets lost big time on that. I don't know why Jeremy Grant didn't go to Denver because I thought they matched the offer, but I'm personally maybe he's 26, so I think he's trying to show his star potential, and he's not going to be able to do that with Murray and Jokic. So I guess in a way it's understandable, but yeah, I don't get the move to Detroit at all.
Yeah, so going off what you were saying, it's actually like you're 100% correct that Denver did match it. The reason that he didn't go back to Denver was that he wanted more of an offensive load, and on that team he would probably be like the fourth at best and probably like the fifth option with Michael Porter Jr. there as well. Um, Jeremy Grant, I think for him it's a great contract because Detroit, I'm not going to say trying to tank, but they're trying to start over basically. He's 26. He's a little bit older than the players like Killian Hayes, for example. He's probably going to be one of the cornerstones of the franchise. He's just coming into the league, so 1,000 IQ play by Jeremy Grant. He can get traded somewhere else. He just secured the bag. I think he'll be fine for sure.
Okay. All right, Kyle. So, how are we feeling about Montrezl Harrell? Kyle.
Man, okay. As much as I don't want to say anything bad about Montrezl Harrell, I think it's a good get for the Lakers.
You're so full of shit.
So he's an elite finisher at the rim. That's one thing that I can't take away from him. He got a lot better in the season prior to Kawhi and Paul George. He was very reliant on Lou Williams to get in the pick and roll to generate offense for him. Last year he became much more independent from Lou, and there were times that he would take guys off the dribble, and it was fun to watch. But I wouldn't. You can't really play him anywhere but at center because he can't stretch the floor. He can obviously play with Anthony Davis because Anthony Davis is a demon and he can really defend anybody. But I wouldn't be surprised, and this might sound crazy. I wouldn't be surprised if he's moved at the deadline, and I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't really play much in the playoffs because you saw how it went for the Clippers when he would come into the games.
I feel like
Yeah,
oh wait,
go ahead. Go for it.
I feel like any player that joins LeBron is like their potential is just gonna skyrocket, man. Because like LeBron draws so much like defense on him, right? I feel like his value is gonna go up so high just for like getting all the assists from LeBron. Like I feel like it's just gonna help his like stock up so much, dude.
I mean, yeah. I don't. But offense has never really been Montrezl Harrell's problem. His problem is his defense.
Yeah.
He can't rebound. He can't shoot. He doesn't rotate on defense. Like it's. I can't overstate how bad it is for him. Like I wouldn't be surprised if LeBron is yelling at him and the man's throwing a fit 10 games into the season.
Yeah, with Montrez, I feel like the main reason Lakers signed him was just to take him away from the Clippers, and that definitely caused chemistry issues because now Lou Williams, I heard there's like trade rumors with him, and it's just like what's going on? Like Montrez is like talking shit about the Clippers and like saying, oh, they didn't want me back and whatnot. So yeah, I think it definitely was a win for the Lakers in the fact that they took away a key piece from the Clippers, even though I know Kyle doesn't feel like he was a key. But yeah, so I think in that sense, Lakers won out. But I just don't see him helping the team much. Like even in the playoffs, I think he's just going to be like a role player. Not going to be a six man of the year the type of player he was last year. I think he just fit better with the team. That's why he got that award. And yeah, I don't know. And as far as Issa was saying about him being better because of LeBron, I don't know. I gotta agree with Kyle about LeBron yelling at him a lot for his laps on defense, and that's probably gonna make him feel more frustrated. And if he gets frustrated, I don't think he's gonna perform as well, and he's just gonna. I don't know why he didn't choose the Clippers. Like it makes no sense to me. But yeah, there's like a lot.
there's like a lot of like rumors that, or like he was insinuating that the Clippers didn't really want him. I think they were probably going to sign him to like a smaller deal or something like that, and he didn't want that, and the Lakers just offered him like something.
I actually don't think the Clippers offered him a contract. He's no, I'm being serious. Like he was the not the source. He was the source. So the day after the Clippers were eliminated from the playoffs after blowing the 3-1 lead, Chris Haynes came out with an article on Yahoo that talked about the Clippers, and there were specific instances of turmoil with the team, and it is. I mean, you can just connect the dots that anything that comes out against specific players, and obviously Montrezl Harrell, which with Clutch Sports, so he's trying to not only preserve his value in the market because he vastly underperformed in the playoffs and probably lost himself a lot of money. But there was just a lot of problems with Montrez and the Clippers, so I doubt they even offered him a contract.
Yeah, I saw this one not contract. I saw this one article that was saying like he didn't like the way that like Kawhi was getting like preferential treatment or whatever. And I'm pretty sure like more than a couple of Clippers players were also feeling like that as well.
Man,
what?
Man, okay, PlayStation P, way off P, and all that. But bro, you're Montrezl Harrell. You're 6'7". You can't defend the rim. You can't guard a chair on the perimeter. Like you think you're better than Paul George, regardless of Paul George's lowlights. What are you talking about?
All right,
like, he had a lot of issues.
Okay,
and
dude. All right,
hey,
dude.
I hope he finds happiness.
Okay, dude. All right. Thank God we can put this chapter 2 in a close once and for all. Because I don't want to hear any more Montrez slander. All right, I'm moving on. All right, based off of all these signings and show, which teams do you guys think got better or worse? I'll just put my 2 cents in there with not too much to say about it, but I honestly think the Hawks definitely got better.
100%.
So, yeah, that's all I have to say in terms of my picks on who got better. Okay, but like I'll let the more dedicated part of the squad go chime in here. So whichever one of you guys want to come in, please do.
Yo, I feel like of all the teams that got better, it was definitely Philadelphia. I mean, I'm not saying that they're gonna go for a championship, but they made so many moves, and in my opinion, a lot of good moves. They were able to sign Tyrese Maxey. They did drafted him. He's a good two-way player. They already have a good two-way player in Matisse Thybulle. I mean, he's got to work on his offense a little bit more, but he's a great defender as a rookie. So they kind of got another player that can create his own shot. And then they've got one of my favorite players. They've got a 3-time champ and a great player, great veteran in Danny Green. And I don't care what people say, even though his finals performance wasn't the best, he's still a great player. He's a great player, man.
He's a good defender. Player.
He's a good defender, reliable defender, and he's a great player, bro. He's a good shooter. I don't care what nobody says his performance. He's going to always be there as a reliable player.
In the last 2 postseasons, Danny Green has scored 7.4 points on 36% from the field. I don't want to hear that. Danny Green is a good offensive player. He's not.
Hold on. I'm not saying he's okay. Hold on. Did you know that he was I think he's either 3rd or 4th for all-time 3-pointers made in the finals, and he can only get there that one way.
Wait. Do you remember whose team he was on? He was on the Spurs, bro.
Yeah, okay, bro. And he was on the Raptors too, and he helped them get a championship.
And he was terrible. He almost cost them Game 6. Remember he turned the ball over at the end at that one game. He almost cost him the championship. He almost cost Kawhi 2 championships in a row.
Danny not good.
Okay, well listen. If you utilize him as a 3-and-D player, I feel like that's when he's most efficient. And I feel like Philadelphia, they already have a lot of good players, so if they utilize him correctly, that's a great move. All right, moving on from Danny Green, we've got a backup center in Dwight. He's pretty good. The move that I thought was really good was, one, they got rid of Horford's terrible contract. And now they've got room to play with Embiid as well. So that's a good move they made. And then, this is my favorite move, is they got Seth Curry. And Seth Curry is like a shooter, Like if you want to run that Ben Simmons and Embiid combo, you're going to have some shooters. I remember a few years ago when the Philly was playing against the Celtics in the playoffs, I remember their best team was consistent. They had a lot of shooters. They had JJ Redick. They had Marco Bellinelli, they had Ersan Ilyasova, and all these guys that could shoot. That's when that Sixers team was really dangerous. You know what I'm saying? So they were able to pick up Seth Curry, Danny Green, and I don't know. I feel like their team is a lot more scary than it was last year. I don't know. What do you guys have to say about Philly?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. They also got a steal in the draft, in my opinion, in Tyrese Maxey at 20. I think it was 21. I think Daryl Morey has been great so far. They probably gave Elton Brand like a phone, like a plastic phone on draft night. Like, hey man, go to town, do whatever you want.
Oh my god.
But because he's just been terrible. But Daryl Morey has been on fire so far. He's made some great changes in Philly.
So for Aray, like the best team or like the team that had the best offseason was probably Philly. I think I'm not gonna cap. I feel like Lakers had a good offseason. Like they picked up Wesley Matthews, great floor spacer. I don't know how people feel about KCP, but like he had his moments like in the finals where he was pretty good. The one thing I didn't like that the Lakers did was that they let Rajon Rondo go. I don't know if that was because Rajon wanted to sign with Atlanta Hawks or whatever, and because he wanted to get away from Braun or whatever like that. Um, but I feel like overall, like they signed Wesley Matthews, they signed Markieff Morris, Marc Gasol. He's an okay center. Um, Obviously, like Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka, they're both on Toronto last year. But I feel like the Clippers got the better end with Serge Ibaka. But I feel like Marc Gasol does still have like his ability to like pass the ball and everything like that. I think the Lakers had a pretty good, off season.
Yeah, no, I
Lakers finally
agree
got
with
Gasol.
you. I agree with you, but one of the moves that they should have done, or something that kind of hindered their offseason, making it like a really good offseason, was they didn't move Kuzma. And Kuzma is like, he's not great, man. He's so bad.
I feel bad
Yo,
for Kuzma, man.
Yo, you guys are just motivating him. Did you see his new Puma commercial?
Did you
Yeah, but-
see him screaming and one in an empty gym shooting jump shots?
He's just getting started.
Y'all violated, man. Y'all violated.
He's just getting started.
And also,
This might be a little off topic, but like one thing I noticed is like a lot of players, or like when they just get into the league, like they always like post on like Instagram or whatever, like during the summer that they're putting in work. Kuzma has been that one guy who always posts that, like, I'm putting in work over the summer. But like this last year was just so bad, bro.
I blame LeBron.
He's so bad, bro.
I blame LeBron. Honestly, I feel like he had a lot of potential, but just being under LeBron, I think it like intimidates him a lot, and I don't think he can play to his potential because of that.
Man, I will never forgive Kyle Kuzma for after they won the championship. The man imitated that Kobe picture of him holding the trophy. That man averaged like 8 points per game in the finals. Like, bro, what are you doing?
I remember that.
Yeah, and I mean, another reason why I can give the Lakers like that seal of approval for being the best move makers in this offseason is because they didn't 100% re-sign Anthony Davis. So
yeah,
I mean, there's still potential he's gonna not re-sign with them and go somewhere else because he did opt out. So you never know.
I think he's waiting on Giannis's decision to re-sign with the Bucks. There's like a lot of rumor about that. If that happened, okay. If Giannis potentially is coming to the Lakers next offseason, that will be the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Like, I don't know. That'll just ruin the NBA. I wouldn't want to watch it anymore. So I hope Anthony Davis just takes his max contract and then just like calls it a day because I don't want to see Giannis on the Lakers.
I mean, I don't think a lot of people do. It'll just be like another like. It's a little bit different from what KD did, whereas like it's a totally different conference or whatever. But that's just gonna be overkill. Like at that point, like it's not even fun. Like you already know, like the stacks are totally like the odds are totally
it's two unguardable players.
Yeah,
it's gonna
it's
be
just
so
stupid,
dumb.
bro. It'll be stupid.
All right.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Issa. I think the Lakers definitely got better offensively. They lost a little bit of defense, but their biggest problem last year when Rondo in the regular season was struggling is that when LeBron would leave the floor, that their offense would just tank. Dennis Schroeder, in my opinion, should have won the Sixth Man of the Year last year. He was amazing. I think he'll definitely help with that problem. Montrezl Harrell can score for you in the regular season. But there's another team that I thought that got really good, and in my opinion, they're going to be as high as like a 4 seed next year, is Phoenix. In my notes, I wrote down CP3, that's it. Because wherever Chris Paul goes, he just knows how to win and get teams to the playoffs. They added more defense on the wings with Jay Crowder. Who's a very solid player. He's streaky, but when he's hot, he can score like 20 points a game, and he plays great defense. They brought back Javon Carter, who's a great defensive player as well. losing Aaron Baines for them is tough. He's going to the Tampa Bay Raptors, but
Let's go.
But I really like DeAndre Ayton. I think he got a lot better defensively last year. They brought back Dario Saric as well. We're going to have to see if he can play as like a small ball 5 for them or how he's going to fit. But I think Phoenix has got a lot better this past offseason.
Did you say they're going to be number 4th seed?
Yeah, he did say.
I think they could be as high. I think that's like their ceiling this
Okay,
upcoming
if you're
season.
saying ceiling, then okay, maybe because the West is really competitive. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Was CP3 there? Yeah, I can see them definitely fighting to get into the playoffs or even being 8-7. But I just don't see them being that competitive. Like I think that would be overstating it. 4th seed. Like I just think there's a lot more better teams. Unless they CP3 actually gets DeAndre Ayton like going, I don't see Phoenix doing.
I think realistically they'll be anywhere from like 5 to 7. But like their ceiling, in my opinion, if everything goes right for them,
They're
they'll
going
be
from
like,
somewhere between 7 to 10.
come on,
Come on, you have New Orleans. You have
Bro.
what? You have New
Bro, what are you
Orleans.
saying, bro? They're not good. The Pelicans aren't good, bro. Like
Are you
they
Okay,
have
no,
no
but-
proof.
Have you
They
forgotten
have
about
They
Zion?
have Zion.
Zion.
Do your echo.
JJ
They
Redick?
have. There's Utah that's competitive. They're going to be in the
I don't
top
think-
8. What's
I
up?
don't think Utah's making playoffs. That's just my hot take. We can get into
Are
that
you
later. But my
serious
fault.
right
I'll let you finish. I'll let you.
Bro,
finish.
you gotta be
My bad, my
kidding
bad.
me,
Yeah.
dog.
Okay.
All right.
Bro,
Okay. Kyle, I have one question for you. If Chris Paul is as good as you say he is, why doesn't he go to the New York Knicks?
bro. Nobody can save the Knicks, man. Nobody's saving that franchise until James Dolan's gone. Hey, who knows? Maybe the elite power forward center Obi Toppin can save them. Who knows?
I know Toby
Hey, Wait. What are the words of Aray? Ain't no stopping Obi Toppin. You already know, bro.
Oh, though he'll be
You gotta
stopped.
hey,
Oh, he'll be
carrying
stopped.
championship, bro.
Yo, he will be stopped. Okay. Alright. You said you wanted to go over the Bucks. Please go over them.
oh yeah, bro. Honestly, I'm pretty interested to see what you guys have to say. I feel like the Bucks, they could have made a lot of different moves, but the moves that they chose weren't honestly the best. I mean, they really didn't have a say of whether Wes Matthews is going to stay or not. And of all the like super aged players that they have, Wes Matthews is probably the one that's probably played the best for them. One of the problems they also had was Eric Bledsoe, so they got rid of him, so that was pretty good. That Drew Holiday trade, oh man, I really like Drew as a player. He's a great player, and I've always been saying this for a few years. He's an all-star snub, and who knows, maybe he can make it to the all-star game. Or I don't think they're having an all-star game this year, but maybe he can be an all-star this year. But I feel like one of the problems that the Bucks had was their shot creation, and I mean, beside Giannis' spin move and like 15-step travel dunks, and maybe Middleton's like here and there shots, they didn't really have that much shot creation. And I'm not sure that Drew Holiday is that much of a shot creator. I know that I was looking to like analytics and all that, but I did see that he's a pretty decent shot creator, but I feel like he's not really one that, that's gonna make the Bucks really stand out. And on top of that, they lost a lot of players as well. I mean, Marvin Williams retired, and he was a great player for them. At least he played just a few games, honestly. But I mean, he was a reliable shooter. Kyle Korver hasn't signed with them again, so I'm not sure that he will, or if he'll go to a different team, or if he'll even retire. They cut Ersan Ilyasova, who was, I want to say, like, he was a really good defensively because he draws a lot of charges. And then on top of that, Robin Lopez left, right? These are all like their bench players, but aside from that, I mean, Dante DiVincenzo got traded as well. I feel like they didn't really bring much talent to the Bucks. I mean, that trade with Bogdan fell apart. They got Bryn Forbes, who's a solid shooter, but he's a defensive liability, and then Bobby Portis, who's just gonna punch another one of his teammates. So we're just gonna have to see, man. I mean, all the acquisitions that they made this offseason, Drew's a plus, but I don't really know how he's going to fit with the Bucks. I really like Torrey Craig. He's a solid backup player. And then DJ Augustine for George Hill is kind of like, I feel like it's kind of an equal trade. I guess they're giving up defense for they're giving up defense. I don't know. I want to see what you guys have to say. I feel like they didn't get as good as we thought that they could get,
Okay, for sure. So like we've been talking about teams that have gotten like better, right, over the offseason. One team I'm not gonna stay too long on this because I know like I'd be going off sometimes, you know what I mean? But one team that I feel like has stayed like largely
Oh
the same,
God, it's coming.
are the Spurs, man. Like
Marvin's room.
it's really disappointing, man. Like they re-signed. I mean, DeMar DeRozan opted into his contract or whatever. They re-signed not re-signed, but they basically re-signed Quindary Witherspoon, and it's just re-signing Jakob Poeltl again. You know, Drew Eubanks. These are all players that like the Spurs have been playing with for a long time, or like they've had them for a while. The only significant thing I really liked that the Spurs did was drafting Devin Vassell with like the way his skill set is. I feel like he has a really high ceiling. But the Spurs are really disappointing. They really stayed the same over the offseason.
I mean, according to you, they don't play their new players more than 10 minutes, so we'll have to see, man. And all I know is they're gonna have to abuse Rudy Gay, man.
Let's go.
And just so you know, I don't know if you know, but you know Trey Jones, they signed him to like a 3-year, something like that. He's like another guard, so you and Spurs and all their guards.
One thing I'm happy that the Spurs did was that they got rid of Bryn Forbes. Although like he's a great shooter, he does not have the defense that we need to carry the team. But yeah, that's it. I'm not gonna go on about the Spurs anymore. Just give me my 2 minutes and I'm happy. Let's go to teams that got worse.
Yeah, the Spurs, I swear to God, is watching like it's like a train wreck happening in super slow motion.
That's what it seems. That's what it seems like. I'm not even gonna cap because like it seems like they're just trying to like hold it off for like the longest period of time before eventually like everything is just gonna like crash.
Yeah, okay. I'll cut you off, Narf. Please go ahead.
Yeah, no. I feel like Spurs will always be one of those teams fighting for playoffs just because of Greg Popovich. I think he gets the most out of his players, even though he's not adapting to the this era of NBA with everyone shooting threes. I don't think he has much of an option because he has Aldridge and DeRozan, especially like taking up much of the contract on the team. So yeah, I don't think Spurs are going to be contenders at all. But going back to the to Kyle saying Phoenix is going to be in the playoff contention. So the reason I don't say 4 or 5 or even 6 or 7, I think they're going to be fighting for that 8th seed is because we have both LA teams locking 2 out of 8 spots. Dallas and Utah and Denver, I think, are going to also take up the spots as 5 out of 8 spots. And then you can't forget about the Warriors. I know they lost Klay Thompson, and I believe we'll talk about it later. But
James Wiseman, let's go.
Yeah, they got James Wiseman. They got that hot guy, the no homo.
Kelly Oubre. Kelly
Oubre.
Oubre,
Yeah,
bro.
And then they got and as much hate as Andrew Wiggins gets, he can do 20 per game, so he's still on the team. So Warriors are definitely locked in. I feel like so that's 6 out of 8. And then Portland with Dame Lillard, oh my God! And then a healthy Yusuf Nurkic, I think they're also pretty much locked in. So it's gonna be really tight. I don't see how Phoenix would sneak in there for the 8th seed. And like as I said, the teams I guess fighting for that 8th seed would be Phoenix, Pelicans, the Memphis Grizzlies, because we can't forget how they performed last year. And it's just there's so many teams and Rockets. I forgot the Rockets as well. With James Harden on the team, anything is possible. So I just don't know how Phoenix was to sneak in there. That's all.
Honestly, you did mention a lot of good teams, but you know I made a really quick like power ranking. It's like a way too early version, and I have the Suns making the playoffs as the 8th seed. The reason why is because I'm not sure. I don't think the Jazz are really going to be as good because I'm looking at last year's standings, right? And there were like 5 or 6 or 4 or 5 teams that all finished within 44 wins. And that was ranging from the 3rd seed all the way to the 7th seed. So Denver finished with 46 at the 3rd seed, and Dallas finished at 7th seed with 43 wins, and the Jazz were at 44 wins at the 6th seed. So that tells me that everything's super competitive. But what the thing that all the other teams did is, right, they all made moves. I feel like Jazz didn't make any moves at all. I mean, you know what I mean? Like while their competition's all getting better, they haven't done anything to kind of get better.
I mean, I've heard rumors about Mike Conley for Russ Westbrook. I don't see how that would work out.
Man.
But I'm just saying. But no, yeah, I definitely got your point. Utah didn't, yeah, they've been silent this whole offseason, so I don't know what they were doing, but I think they still have a very competitive team. So yeah, sure, I could, like as you said, like Phoenix going for 8th seed, like I can agree with that. Like Phoenix, Utah fighting for that last spot, but anywhere higher than that, I don't see it happening.
All right. Well, I believe I believe everything should happen in equilibrium. For as many good things, there should be as many bad things. So, I feel like we've been just a bit too positive. What teams do you think kind of fell off a cliff during this offseason?
So I don't particularly think they fell off a cliff. Earlier, Narf was saying that he thinks that they're going to make the playoffs. I disagree for a few reasons, and that team is the Pelicans. One, they lost their best player, Drew Holiday. Brandon Ingram was their all-star player last year, but I still think Drew is a better player all around than Brandon Ingram is. An underrated loss for them this past offseason is Etwan Moore. This upcoming season, what I figured their starting lineup would be Eric Bledsoe, Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Zion, and Steven Adams or Jackson Hayes. Who in their starting lineup is shooting threes? Their lack of spacing, probably as well as a condensed season. Zion probably doesn't play as many games. I think they got worse, and I think they're probably gonna miss the playoffs.
Wait,
Yeah,
so okay,
yeah, go ahead.
I was thinking,
No,
how much? So how good of a player do you think Brandon Ingram is? Kyle.
I mean, I think he's a good player. He's not great defensively. I think he's a great offensive player. He's definitely improved a lot. But at this point, like as Narf was saying earlier, the West is very stacked, and the rest of the team around him, the fit just isn't great. So I can definitely see them missing the playoffs.
I mean, he signed a 158 5-year, $158 million contract, bro. Max
I think he's
contract.
worth it.
Oh,
I think
word.
so.
yeah, I
Okay.
think he's worth it. I think he's like a off-brand version of KD, but that's not a bad thing, to be
Yeah,
that. So
compared to him.
I think
Yeah.
Brandon Ingram and Zion, if they can just work together and like Lonzo just, I guess, making the team like a unit, I think I think they have potential to be competitive and fight for that 8th seed and cause team problems. But yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Kyle. I don't think they'll get in. So, but honestly, I really love the Pelicans, and it's not because of Zion. I just think all the players there, they're like real underdogs in my opinion. So yeah, I'm excited to see what they do.
Yeah, I can't see them making the playoffs. Speaking of a team that's not going to make the playoffs, the Raptors. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I don't get you heated, Narf. But yo, they honestly got worse this offseason, in my opinion. They lost their two better centers, and then they had to sign Chris Boucher. I don't know how to say his name, the Duck Man, to like a pretty big contract, pretty sizable. And then they gave a contract extension to Fred VanVleet, who in my opinion, I don't think he's going to get any better than he already is. And to kind of lock him in for that long, I mean, it doesn't really give his team that much of flexibility. And then they had to go and sign Aaron Baines, who's pretty good. When he played with the Celtics, he was amazing. And then on the Suns, he had a game where he shot 9 3-pointers. So maybe he could be that better version Marc Gasol. Who knows? But I feel like the Raptors, like going back to the Jazz example, all the teams around them are getting better, and they're just kind of regressing. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on the Raptors.
No, I definitely agree with you. Raptors really didn't do much. I think I don't know how to feel about that Fred VanVleet contract because he was big on us winning championship. But as they say, NBA is a business, and honestly, I feel like it's a bit overpaid. Just like how they rushed to give Siakam that huge contract, and I think a lot of people are regretting that. So, yeah, I think with those two contracts, it's just a little weird to see where the team's headed. Because I don't see either of those players being like a centerpiece, just because of Fred VanVleet's size and Siakam's spin moves. So yeah, Raptors. I don't know what they're doing. I think they'll still be in playoff contention just because they've always been around. They're kind of like the Spurs of the East, except they're not struggling as much. So yeah, I gotta agree with you.
I think one team that we're forgetting got like really bad over the offseason. It's the OKC Thunder. they lost Chris Paul, and like he was just a freaking like floor general to the maximum extent, man. I feel like OKC Thunder, they're not good for this upcoming season, but like I mean they do have like a rising star in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But I just feel like it's gonna be. I mean, they're playing all of their cards so that their future is bright. They have so many first round picks. It's just crazy, dude. I think the OKC Thunder really did like go like belly up this offseason, to be honest.
Well, I don't think that makes them losers per se, because I think they have clear direction that they want to develop their young
I mean, they got
talent.
worse after this offseason, right? Like
Well,
if we're looking at their upcoming season.
Well, okay, in the sense that yeah, next season they're not going to be competitive at all, but that's not a bad thing because you like as you say like with the Spurs, like they're always hanging around, they're always trying to fight, but like it's going to be a losing battle at the end of the day. They're not going to win a championship with that team. So like why not blow up the team and like start something new and like just be a better team for the next 5 years, like that's what OKC are doing. They're planning 5 years ahead, but like once like LeBron retires and stuff like that, I could see OKC coming back up to like getting players like Russell Westbrook or Kevin Durant because they have so much assets to get young talent that's really good in the future.
For sure, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, no, honestly, I have to agree with that. Like, yeah, of course he got worse, but I mean, it's all part of their plan. When they traded Paul George and Westbrook for all those picks, you knew that this was coming. You knew like a form of tanking was gonna come. Like they were setting themselves up for the future. Sometimes it's worth it to take a step back just to, set your path for the future. You know what I mean? And yeah, I think that was a good move for what they did. And yeah, I mean, you look at different teams and they don't do that. They just keep trying to compete and they're always stuck in the middle of the road. You see teams like the Magic that are like that. The Hornets are kind of like that. You know what I mean? Like a lot of these teams are just, they're not capable of tanking, but they're also not capable of competing.
Okay. All right.
I agree.
I disagree. All right, there you go. Now we had a discussion. Kyle, you said you wanted to try out a segment. Try your set segment, please.
Yeah. So everybody gets one chance to answer the question. I obviously can't prove whether or not you guys will not cheat, but I would appreciate it if you guys didn't.
Okay.
If you, I guess if you get it right, then I don't know, I'll give you $1 or something. But my question is that, and you only get one chance. Which team is Trevor Ariza currently on? So you get to go first.
I believe he got flipped like more than a couple of times. I think it's the Pistons.
Okay. I'm not going to give the answer till the end, but Narf, you can go next.
Honestly, I don't know. I think he left to Portland. I'm gonna just guess Miami because I don't remember Miami doing anything. Maybe they replaced Crowder with Ariza.
All right, Harry, you're up.
Damn, y'all don't know how bad they want to cheat, but I remember, well, he got traded to the Blazers from the Blazers
To the Rockets.
to the Rockets, yeah, and that's the last place I've seen him go, so I'm just gonna go with the Rockets.
All right, Shaman.
I don't know, bro. The Lakers? I have no fucking clue.
Jeez, none of you guys got it right now, and he's on the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Oh, that was my second guess. Damn it.
Yep, he's gotten traded like 5 times.
Yo! I just want to say Issa cheated because I just googled it after I answered, and it said Detroit on Google, and I said,
"Wait, what?
Issa,
No,
bro.
I'm not."
Bro, you got caught slacking, bro.
Wait, how is
No, for real? What? What are you talking
Well,
about?
I mean, technically, did the trades ever go through? He's still on the Blazers.
Which team is Ariza on?
Yo,
The first link says OKC Thunder. First link says OKC Thunder.
I said which team?
No, I see it. If you scroll down a little bit, it says about, it says Pistons number 8.
Yeah, on Wikipedia it says Trevor Ariza's on the Thunder.
I'm just saying Google, like the first thing. Google. But
Yeah,
whatever.
I see it say Detroit.
My bad. I was trying to.
All right, man.
I was definitely cheating, bro.
That's crazy though. The Thunder. Then he about to carry them to a championship.
Psych. All right. We've been going on just a bit too long on this episode. So, Ray, you want to write us out?
Yep. I always write us out. You don't even know how I do. All right. So you guys already know, send us our questions at eastcoastbrowncast@gmail.com, or you can comment on our YouTube channel, the East Coast Browncast, or you can even follow us on Instagram, ECBcast, and you can listen to us on Google, Apple Podcasts, and also we're on Spotify and Radio Public, so listen to us there. And guys, we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Go be the goat.
Later,